welcome. So happy that you have chosen to join me today. And no matter when you listen to this or watch the replay, know that you are always in the energy as we're constantly shifting and changing to help you come to a better place. And I was kind of tossing around today's show for anybody that knows how I do my shows. I don't script them. I just channel. Thank you, God, from the God of your understanding, whatever that looks like for you. There's no judgment. And you might see my cats if you are on video. You might see my cats. Groomers where I live have finally opened. I have Persians. They were in rough shape because you got to take care of them. So they might look a little bit like rats. So you got to have some fun, right? But it's interesting watching the times change that are happening right now, and you need to have some understanding. And I want to spend a little bit of time on this show today, giving you some things that you can start to do and understand, and how you can help through these massive transitional times and what's happening. I know I have, for people that can see, I have this mug that I it's part of our products, but it says trust no believe. And I thought how fitting for today. Trust no believe. We have to trust so much in that what we see is going to become a better world. It's easy to get caught up and think that it's going to become worse. And it's easy to turn on the news and to become afraid. So, we're going to talk more about that and where those imprints are. Cloud's like, please, can I come visit? Everybody knows as soon as I come on live. So I want to talk about that. If you want, if there's things that are on your space that are feeling uncomfortable, or you need cleared energetically, you would like to have lifted because it's this time right now will bring up a lot of trauma. You can call us at 1-800-930-2819. I will make this a call in show. Like I said, I wasn't sure with so much going on. I really had to sit with, the connection with spirit, with the divine, and say, what do we really need to, I'm going to move Cloud over there. What do we need to change? What do we need to do? And how can we be that change? So, throughout many years, people have asked me, is it a political change we need to make? Is it governments? Is it media? Like, what institution? Is it the systems? What are the systems? The bottom line. And then they'll ask, a lot of people are surprised when I say to them, I have a strong belief system. For me, you can go wherever you want. I would be deemed, I am somebody that believes in no control over people and no slavery. And I believe that as adults, we become adults, and we are very responsible. For the most part, people are very responsible. We've all been programmed, and this is what waking up is about. We've been programmed to follow systems. And for most of you, these systems are broken, very broken. A lot of people, when you no longer believe in systems as being authoritative and governing bodies, what happens is they will deem you, and it deem it like an anarchist. Not anarchy, very different. But what that is basically no slavery, and you believe in freedom. Freedom for the people, freedom to be able to govern yourself. Why is all of this pent up energy coming right now? Yeah, all the planets are backwards, and they're going to be like this. I have said this, if you've watched our show, they're going to be like this for probably until the end of next year. But it has to happen. It has to happen because, let's even look economically. And then we're going to talk about the systems and things you can do. And if you want, you can call in. I was looking at a stat this morning and looking at the struggle, and we're looking at what has happened in the last even 3 months, and we'll clear some of this off of you. And it reminded me, and I want to share it with you, and you can go look it up at the Cambridge House, because it's from Cambridge House, and I do actually quite like them. So 21 people, think about this for a minute. This has been going on forever. This is part of the massive change and transition we're in that has contributed to people pitting people against people, which we are not born for that. You're born to love. We learn through the systems that have not changed. There are places in the world where they do not have people incarcerated. They have learned to work with them, rehabilitate them. The systems we know keep people in systems. But people are like, oh, I'll just follow whatever's happened before. And then we get mad. And what's going to happen this time is we're not going to go back to, and if you look through history, there's been and a lot of things on media where there's been a lot of people pitted against people, and it happens all over the world. So I'm just all over the world, and then it gets forgotten, and then another crisis. Like we were in crisis for Corona, and now everybody, there's no social distancing, and Corona's forgotten about because they all were like, okay, really tell me what's going on here. So now let's create another distraction. But this stat I want to share with you. Just think about this: 21 people. You can picture 21 people in your brain, right? hmm Good. 21 people in the world right now hold more wealth, more wealth than 50% of the entire world. Think about this. So the bottom 50% of the world, that's a lot of people. So 21 people hold over $1 trillion and have made trillions of dollars over the last how many years. But the bottom 50% has lost almost $1 trillion. And I'm putting it in monetary because a lot of people can understand that. And it's a great stat. So if you think that these 20 people, think about this. So there are also 20 people that use media, that use systems to keep people less than and keep people in fear and keep people, because when they have your fear, this is what the golden age is about, guys. This is why the whole world is waking up saying, we don't want you to take away what was we're done being controlled, we're done being manipulated, we're done. So they're coming out. But because the only way these 20 people that literally start to manipulate and move the world can get you to do more what they want is by fear. That age is starting to come to an end. And people say, how? It's all we've lived in. It can't. It doesn't mean there's not something else happening and going on. There are people like you and me waking up because we are born to love each other, respect each other, help each other. And when somebody has done something and something has happened to someone and they're like, do not shame them, and they say they want help. A lot of times when people are acting out, and I don't mean like right now, like they're protesting stuff, there's more of this is peaceful protests. What you're seeing, what you're hearing, guys, you got to start to wake up and understand the spirit of manipulation and understand why and who is moving information and manipulating information. And then it gets you fired up. And then I watched the news the other day for 15 minutes. I do not watch the news. I do not watch it. I watch the good news, or I'm in my community. And it's not, I don't know what's happening, but I also know it's mostly manipulation. So I do not watch mainstream news at all. I will look at other areas. But I will tell you, 15 minutes in mainstream media, my body was anxious. My body started to get stressed. I was looking at it, and it was because of all the manipulation energy. And if you could see the amount of manipulation energy coming at you, and I was in film and television for a long time. So, on the other side, so like behind the cameras. So, that a lot of that information, depending on who owns the network, like where I live, in the country I live in, they're paid by our government to report certain media. And I know this, for some people can go, I don't know if I want to talk about this, but we have to, because we need to stop the division and the separation that these 20 people would like to keep. And you can go to the Cambridge House, you can go Google it, and you can find it. I'm not telling you this isn't energy, but this is true. Where for years and years and years, long before you and I were alive, it's been coming out. It's been coming out, and it's kept countries in poverty. It's kept countries in slavery mode. It's kept you in slavery mode on a treadmill. It's pitted neighbor against neighbor because it's all distraction. But now what's happening is people are coming out and people are saying no more. This is part of the change. This is part of saying we don't want these systems anymore. I have people that I've helped that, they're trying to come off of social assistance, or, in here we call it welfare. Everybody calls it something different, where they've been living on money from the government. And a lot of times what happens is they're called second, third, fourth, fifth generation families because they don't know how to get off the system. So they're not taught, they're not trained, it's not educated. But if they try to get off the system and go get a job and better, they're punished. So stuff is taken away, so they're better off on the system because when they try to get out. So it's this whole, and people are like, what? So these systems in the world that have kept people against people and fed information into society to make you fear each other and make you, get angry with each other. It's the systems. And what can we do? People say, what can we do? One, turn off mainstream media. Turn off mainstream media. Like, that's got to happen. You can still check it out in other areas, but thank you, God, let's remove the accumulation of manipulation and all of that energy they put in. Because there's so many things I say, I'm like, did people catch that? Did people catch that? Like, I saw, and if you can find this information very easily, where manipulation, where when they were talking about what was happening in Venezuela and the refugees, and there were like their pictures they use, and I'm like, you forgot to Photoshop that little kid's legs in. Like, why does that lady have a Louis Vuitton purse and high heels? Like, when you're running from something, you're not in your like high heel 5-inch stilettos carrying your whatever bag and off you go, and your red bottom shoes. Like, you're just not, like, if you're more toward, you're not. And your hair's not all done up, and you're like, guys, you got to start to look at this. So it's something that people get very agitated about, especially when I bring up. And why is it agitating? Because there's parts of you that are so tired of being manipulated and shamed and put under these authoritative bodies. And then people believe what they say, and then you get caught in it. We could all tell stories of things of where people and authoritative beings have gone and done something that has been not so in kindness. And people, I've had stuff in the grocery stores, I'm like, whoa, really? And I live in a place where you wouldn't think that would, for the most, it happens, but not to that degree. So there's things where you're like, wow. But this is when you work on yourself and you start to remove the manipulation from the timelines you've had, your cultural timelines, your ancestral timelines. Guys, you got to understand, this kind of manipulation has been going on for centuries. And this is why they call it the golden age of people waking up and saying, you know what, I can quietly sit here. Like, people don't even know the mass amount of protests all over the world that are saying, we're done being your slaves. So this is far bigger. But the best way that these 20 people can keep, to have all this money, can keep that, is to start to pit you guys against each other. That is enemy spirit. That is not, you can call it enemy spirit, you can call it dark energies, you can call it Lucifer energies. They make you sick, they make you in fear, they make you afraid you're going to lose your job. So now nobody's really focusing, right? The fact that people have lost their jobs, or people are, what's happening here. Like, this whole thing is now just gone off the table. You're not even hearing Corona. See how quick they look for the next story, the next story, the next story. So rather than opening the energy and expanding it to say, how can I be more in kindness? We wake up, you wake up. The more you wake up, the more you do your inner work, the more you can come more into peace and understanding. Say, you know what? I'm sorry you feel that way, but maybe you might want to look at it from a new perspective and understand. A lot of people that talk and spew stuff that is not kindness, and if you could see them, I work with so many when they're like, oh my God, look what I did, I was a horrible person, the things I've seen with my clients. But I can tell you, they come to a point of changing. How do I change this? How do I make forgiveness? Your job is to show up and help them understand that they may have said those things, but usually when they do, they have a lot of hurt, so much hurt, and people feed off that hurt, and they feed off that anger to get them to be even more rude to other people. And this is a time where it has to stop. One of my clients today, she's such a wonderful soul. in our community, we talk about Star Trek a lot and Star Wars. If you can see me, got a little Yoda back there. And she sent me this clip. She's now says they're all like getting into understanding that how these shows have actually prophesied and shown things that were unfolding into a better world. And I always say, when you're in Star Trek world, you're in a better world. And she sent me this clip. It was awesome, and it was somebody basically from the past come onto the Enterprise, and the one lady was walking. I won't get to all of it. Basically, he was saying, "But we come. Why would you have all this technology? And why are there aliens here? And why is that blue man here?" And it was so cool because she said, "You know what?" He's like, "What do you mean? I come from Earth where there's tyranny and there's authoritative space and power and greed and control." And she says, "No, no, that's changed. Like." We keep peace. All of us live together. We have saved all these people from all over the world, all these different planets and universes. We live in peace. She goes, there is no poverty on Earth. There is no lack on Earth. Like there's nothing. She goes, we eradicated all of that. It's gone. It's harmonious. People come together. There's none of that. People help people. And it was interesting because a lot of times people discount even stuff like that that's seeded. The reason this is seeded, that's the thing that people need to really start to look at and say, wow, let's go deep within, connect to the God of your understanding, God, goddess, whatever it is for you. Connect to that beautiful empowerment of love, which is much bigger. It overrides all the universes, all the galaxies, all the planets, all the aliens, everything. And that's what's going to happen, because right now it's so important to stay connected, to stay grounded, to stay focused, to stay neutral, and to hold that energy through, and to say, I'm really mad about that. And why am I mad about it? Okay, am I mad because another hurt person's life was taken and these systems aren't changed? Is it mad because, and that's for most people, right? Is it mad because I've lived in these systems for so long and they got to change, they got to stop? Is it control? Is it authoritative? What is it for you? Because when you can start to remove that out of you, you can become part of the solution. And in your own community, you can start doing better things for people around you. You can't help what's happening on the other side of the world, but you can by being a better person. You can by coming in love, and you can by opening your heart and your home and your place to everybody that you really know that you can make a difference to, and coming together in communities. I have the most beautiful community of heart centered soul. And I'm not just saying that, I do. For people in our communities are always shocked. Why? Because they care, they love, and they don't care if you need something, they're there. These are the places you need to get into, because I don't care if it's me somewhere else, because this is gonna get more intense. Somebody asked me, do you think there's gonna be civil war? I think there's gonna be civil war, sure. I also think there's gonna be other kinds of different forms of war that we're going to see, because again, it's dismantling the old. So don't get caught up in the fear. It's dismantling the old so we can start to rebuild the new, which that energy is probably not even going to fully come through to start rebuilding the new for another year, or maybe till the end of next year, 2020 to 2021. So we have to have this mass destruction, but people are saying no more. And when you see people hurting people or violating people, if you have a way to just say, excuse me, or remove yourself, you can, but for most time you can't. Send them what they require and start to come up with solutions, because it's the solutions to say, how can we, and people say, well, that goes so high up. It does, it goes high up. But if enough people come up with the solutions, like if you look in Hong Kong, the energy of that when they were protesting was very calm, very calm. My daughter went to Hong Kong during the protests. You've heard me. I traveled during SARS. I traveled every 5 weeks to Asia during SARS. She traveled during Ebola. And guess what? It wasn't even, it was more. I think 2 million people died of SARS. I don't even know what Corona is. But, and I know, I'm sorry, guys, I really want to get this out so you can understand. She went to, and then we're going to go to Jennifer on the line right after our break. She went to Hong Kong during the protests, and the media over here was saying violence, tear gas, all this stuff. And the school, because it was her grade 12 years, she was traveling the world for school. And the teachers were like, I don't know if we're going to go there. We got to watch. They were always a couple steps ahead to watch to make sure the kids were never in harm's way. So when my daughter was over, she was supposed to go to Europe or to Egypt at one point, and then there was upheaval then, so they moved them to Turkey. So they always send people ahead. Great school that she went to, and for this year. So she gets to Hong Kong, and we over here in North America, all we saw was their rioting, their upheaval, the upon. She said, "Mom, we're going downtown. They're taking us to the protests because we've heard it's okay." She has pictures. She went down to the protest. They were just sitting there eating sandwiches and singing beautiful songs. There was no violence. That violence footage was from somewhere else. I kept saying that footage doesn't look like it's now. And she's like, look at all, there's no violence. So the violence a lot of times gets perpetuated to try to get more like movement, right? Because most people are just like, I'm just going to sit here until you finally listen. It's like when your child says, I need to, hello, you're not listening. Some people, they literally, I was doing a video for my community on hips and energy of hips, and when they get stuck up and they can't move and flexibility. And, for our miraculous academy, and what I was saying is a lot of times there's a lot of anger that can get stuck in your body, especially in the hip area, if you only know how to yell to get attention. So now people are like, do I have to yell? And so this energy gets you fired up when you're angry and yelling, and then you say things you don't say. This is why we do the inner work, why we got to come back to that love and stop watching mainstream media and start being more in that love and that kindness, and understand there's a lot of people that need to be reprogrammed. This is why we want to wake up in like we've never woken up before, because all of that programming that people have that don't know any different, they don't know any different, it doesn't give them a pass. But if we can come together and we can start to show them different to what, not everyone's going to wake up, a lot of people are going to stay in the dark, but more people right now are holding the energy of love around the world. More people are saying most people actually are anarchists, they really are. They don't believe in slavery at all, and they don't believe in bodies that need to control anybody. You're a grown up. You don't need your parents to tell you anymore, how to live, what to do, how to get your groceries, how to go to the bathroom. It's the same thing. So in these systems, they're taught to rely on them. They're taught to say, okay, you know what, you got to rely on us, and then we'll tell you what to do. Why do you think taxes are actually illegal? Now, I know I'm saying this and you're like, well, that's not always happy as you guys are always so happy, because right now things are not always the glory realm, and we got to talk about them. We got to move it. We got to seed into the glory realm is to seed into kindness, to seed into respect, to thank that hand of God for each and every one of you, to have patience, understanding, and to be so discerning of what you're watching. And when you're feeling angry and when you're feeling frustrated, feel it, acknowledge it, let it go, and ask how can you help me move this, and what can you do to help people. You can show up more in love, and you can work on yourself more and more and more. This is why it's called the mass awakening. So I know we're going to take a quick break. I can't believe already, here we go, half an hour, right? We're going to take a quick break and think about this. 20 people, and I think it was in the last, oh my gosh, I don't know how many years, 10 years or whatever, their wealth went up huge while everybody else's went down. So if that's not manipulation, this is a world of uncoupling manipulation on every level and every layer. So if you need a community, you know where we are. You can sign up for my free membership, tracylclark.com. Lots of videos in there, or you can join us in the Miraculous Academy. Always fun. Lots of clearings, lots of activations. And we do have that as well for you to help you stay connected. Be the leader, be the light. That's how we're going to start change. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back right after the break with Jennifer. All right. We are so happy to have you back. I know it's a little bit of a heavier topic, but we are shifting you and moving you to a new space, because we got to do it together, guys. We will get through it together, and we'll get on the other side, and it's going to be a better world. Just trust, no, believe. Okay. We're going to go right to the phone lines. We have Jennifer. Is that correct, Zach?
Yes, we have Jennifer from Toronto. Jennifer, you were live on the Tracy L Clark Show.
Hi, thank you so much for connecting me to Tracy.
Hello.
I'm just going to say thanks for all that you do.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I'm praying that what you said on the show today, that all these protests, not the anarchy or looting or what's going on, all these peaceful protests will actually come to a change. Because I'll tell you something, I myself is very doubtful that this will bring to any change because of my own personal experiences, and which you know of some of them. And I'm glad you didn't judge me on those. But with all the stuff that's been coming up, it's actually been triggering me, and it's brought up a lot of past experiences with my children, with myself. I'm going to ask you to actually clear back some of those again because, even early this year on the playground, people called my kid the N word, and the principal did nothing about it. Goes back to even the time my daughter was in school and she took the bus and somebody pushed her, called her the N word, and when she pushed them back to defend herself, who got suspended? She got suspended, and I had to go into the school to defend her as usual, and teacher telling her that she's not going to turn out to anything. I myself have been through it at work. People calling me and telling me you're nothing but an immigrant. Look at your accent. You don't deserve that job. So all these things are coming up now, and in our society in Canada, we feel that it's not here. It's not
it's here.
obvious as in the U.S.,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
all in the system. And unless
Yeah.
you personally experience it,
Yeah.
you won't know how to deal with it. And when you start advocating for yourself, people start labeling you as, oh, here comes the angry black woman. No matter how you position it, even if you position it in a peaceful way, they label you off like that, and then you feel powerless. And this is what all over the world now has brought up in me, powerless. You don't know if when my son grows up and he goes out on the street and with his condition and people don't know, what are they going to do with him? They're just going to label him, oh, this is a terrible black kid. It's already happening in his school. It's already
in the
happening
systems.
in his environment.
In the systems.
And what can I do about that? And when I know that's far from the truth. I'm not an angry person. My kids are growing up pretty well. I'm pretty well socialized. I love everybody.
Pretty well. Look at your daughter. Now, Jenna's in our Miraculous Academy. I have to say that. Look at your daughter alone. Your daughter is privacy for her name, but like so intuitive and loving. And she's like, we're going to remove that information of those imprints. Like she's helping the homeless. She's got the biggest heart. Like, holy man, she is making a difference. She even puts you in line, mommy. We know that sometimes. But this is it. This is where, and this is exactly what you said. And I'm so happy you said this. And I'm going to start to move this because this is bringing it up for a lot of people, right? The space of, and those are when the people come in these systems and they've been brainwashed and they've been put through it. And then they say these things and it's hurtful no matter who's on the other end and what's happening. And like, and your son, I've known him for a long time. He is the most loving, brilliant little boy. And you know this because, well, I can't even call him a little boy anymore. He's turning into like a little man. I'm like, don't grow up so fast. But it brings up. And one of the things you said that's so important for the listeners to hear, and we'll start to move this, it doesn't feel like there's hope of change because when we look through the history, there's been no change. There's been very little change. No matter what side you are of this, there's been little change. But this is where I want to start to clear and remove where, remember, I said this yesterday to someone, the reason this is different is we're not going to let it be like so many of these other incidences, where in media reported them and then all of a sudden that was the big uproar and look at what happened and then boom, the next day the next big thing comes in and everybody's forgotten about it, right? And then it goes back to the old way. This is what I want to start to remove and uplift because everywhere you have been, cursed and shamed and humiliated and no matter what background you have and called those names. And you know what, one of the things I would like to say, and this is where in Big Truth, and I remember when that happened to your son on the playground, but he stood up for himself. He stood up for the little girl. Like he came from a good, strong, loving place at his age. And we have to keep coming from this because this is not going to end tomorrow. But what this is doing all over the world, you see people are finally, like before these were incidences that would happen in one city and you'd see it on the news, it would go away. And then you'd hear another one on the news, even though it's happening every day. But now around the world, you see people coming up all over the world saying no more of this, no more disrespect. And what this is exactly what I'm going to start to remove is everywhere, everybody listening has been in a system that has perpetuated control, fear, word curses. And we're going to thank the power of the hand of God of removing this and overriding with belief and that hope that now we can, just because we've never seen it. And this is where the energy gets locked up. Just because we haven't seen it doesn't mean it can't happen. And what I see energetically is when this unrest is going to be pretty crazy, but there's actually more light on the other side as we get through this, because people now, where they would see it on the media and any area, like I said, we're seeing all of this happen, and you've gone through it, and the things that have happened in the States and other countries, and it's happening in other countries too, clients that I can tell you stuff that's happening in their countries and things against them from systems makes us all go, ugh. But the more neutral we can come, the more we can start to see, once this lifts, that the whole world now is like, I think we're done with these. I think we're done with people that want to be like this. And you will see over time, they will become the minority in terms of their belief system. So the people that want to play with the enemy spirit, the people that want to promote hate, the people that want to be in that for their scared, insecure, fearful beliefs, they're going to start to become less and less. And you're going to start to see more people rise up and say, no, you can't do that. And I want to remove where people would say, oh, here comes an angry person. No, here comes a person that is loving and kind, that says, we're not going to do this anymore. And look at all the areas, not only in your life, but in everybody listening in your life, where you've had to stand up and you've had to put boundaries and you've had to say, no, you can't call me that. You can't be there. You can't do that. And I want to start to remove those imprints, and years for everyone listening, of being in slavery in any form, like whether in any form, that's a big word, right? Because it comes in all levels and layers. And let's start pulling this out of the system, because I can see it's bringing up ancestral pain and trauma, and then also your own experiences. So this is a pretty big line to clean out. How does that feel when I start to move that?
It feels a little bit lighter. I feel a lot better.
Yeah, let's start
and also, probably what also is helping me feel better, and I thank you for this, because in another setting, I would actually suppress my speech and suppress my thoughts, because I would be thinking of judging, and because you're so open and not judgmental, I just feel I could just bring this topic across. So you could not only just help me, help everybody else that's been in these situations, and which I appreciate.
Yeah, I get chills when you say that, because this is how we come together. This is how we release the energy. This is how we say it's okay to feel that way. And sometimes, right, you probably, when especially too, when not only we're hurt, but mamas are mama bears. I don't care where you are, and anybody that goes after our children, like, I don't care where you live in the world, mama bears come forward. They're like, no, that's my child, right? And so it's good to express and say, that really hurt me. And what is the underlining of why it's hurting? It's because there's so many times that still happens, and it's a sadness that says, really? Because let's face it, it's 2020. Like, none of this should be happening. This is how old our systems are, right? It shouldn't be. We should be in this literally place of respect and kindness. But I'm going to reset this a little bit more for everyone, because I'm going to remove some heartache and some heartbreak and some strength, that we're given the feelings to feel for a reason, and that to talk about them and to bring them up allows a release in the body and allows more love. And what I love about you, and I'm going to say this on air, is you're so tenacious, and you've gone through some crazy stuff, and you show up for support and kindness, and you take that into the world with you. And this is about awakening. And the more people that you can show and take that lead, look at how much your whole life has changed. And you become the walking beacon of God's light to help these other people who are afraid and don't understand.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very proud of you. I'm so happy you called in.
Thank you.
Lots of love.
And I'll say this again to anyone: join the Miraculous group. It really helps. Just use your tools. And thank you to Tracy and the community. Lots of love to you and the community.
Lots of love, sweetheart. You know what? This is what it's about. It's about understanding. And if you feel like you don't have a place or you don't know how to fit, that's why I say get into communities, get into your communities. People will see you, they'll recognize you, they'll hear you. Lots of people. And when I watched Jen go through her transition, she's got two of the most, she's been with me for quite a long time, two of the most amazing children, like amazing. I watched her daughter graduate and go in and become into social work, serving and serving and serving and using her gift. And she is a beacon of light. And they keep coming up across this, but they keep being the beacons of light. This is exactly what I'm saying. If you can be the beacon of light, like Jen and her family, and her little guy comes and gets so much love and attention when we're together, and be able to be there, and we have this space, and every time he calls me Auntie Tracy, because I've gotten to know him so well, it melts my heart, because we are just here to say, how can we better each other? How can we uplift? This is how you create change, exactly what Jen is doing. And it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. And it doesn't mean you don't want to crawl away. And it doesn't mean that every day is a glory day. But if you can keep getting up and saying, thank you, God, give them what they require, show them what they require. I am a perfect being, a child of God, God of your understanding, goddess, whatever you want to say. I'm this perfect being. And with this perfect being, I can keep changing one more life, one more life, one more life, and quietly go out and realize, I see it energetically. The people that are creating the destruction are the minority creating the destruction, and it's not the people you think it is. So I'm going to set that on an energetic level, just like all the other manipulation in the world. It's never what you think it is. So you got to start to expand, wake up, and see the truth. All right, we have Julia on the line. Is that correct, Zach?
Yes, we have Julia from Toronto. Julia,
Okay.
you're live on the Tracy L Clark Show.
Hi, Julia.
Hi, Tracy.
So happy you called. It's okay. What's your question today?
Okay, so my question is, I have this trigger around feeling I need to sacrifice myself so that others feel safe.
Yeah. Yeah. What it's actually coming to is, if you feel less than, then you think you've raised them up.
Yeah.
So that's why you sacrifice. So if I can show them that I'm less than them on your perception, then you feel you've raised them up. Are you okay if we start to remove that? That is something you've just
Absolutely.
had for a long time. That's an imprint, and that's actually come from authoritative figures. It's come from your family. It's come from a lot of, I want to keep saying you're no good, you're no good. Is that something that someone said to you, or is that something you say to yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's remove the phrase, because it's not true, and let's override, because here's the thing I want to impart and speak in. When you rise up and this energy now starts to go and you become the best version of you, do you know that you can actually help and affect and change 1,000 times more lives than you can when you sacrifice?
Yeah.
How does that feel now?
A lot lighter.
Yeah, better, right? So I want you
more
to
room.
Yeah, I want you to start. I'm overriding this in the heart. So I want you to start to be really strong and say, wait, I don't. And so when you'll be tested again, and when it comes up, say, wait a minute, I'm not going to buy that anymore. That's not truth. Because when I actually rise in the beautiful power that I am, I can actually help more people. So that's part of the manipulation energy of the lies that authoritative bodies and systems have made people think, that if you're meek and you're mild and you sit in the background and you don't do anything and you're just like there, then, you're a good little parishioner, and, off you go and you'll help all these people. And, oh, look at you. There's a lot of religious stuff there too from old lifetimes. I'm going to get rid of it as well.
Thank you so much. And another thing is, just reminded me of the last woman that was speaking, and beautiful. She was saying how something about anger, and it reminded me of, when I feel anger around me, I almost enjoy it, because it feels more authentic to what I'm, I guess, accustomed to, which is very in the shadows.
Yeah. So when anger comes up, it can feel like a friend, right? Like, okay, I know what this is. It's a friend. But we can start to remove, I'm going to reverse the perception. So when joy comes up, it's a friend. So as you start to move away from that, and as you start to dissipate, what happens is, and I get it because I used to live around very angry people, what happens is you go away from it. It does start to feel uncomfortable because it's not familiar, right? So as we reset the body to feel familiar, you'll start to see shortly, it looks very shortly, the anger will start to irritate you. So it's not going to feel as empowering. You're going to start to say, would you just shut up? Like, it's going to feel like that, right? It's like, I really don't want to be here. And I'm going to get angry and leave now because this is just not, and that's the body going, yes, leave the angry and let's go and have some peace.
Yes, there's a bit of grief in that too, I guess.
Oh, yeah. There'll be a lot of grief because it'll be like, wait a minute. It's like breaking up with your best friend or breaking up with your boyfriend or your lover. It's like, oh my God, it's a breakup. It's a breakup of a
that, like,
relationship.
no, I'm no good thing is coming back now. Like, right now, I just want to jump off the phone because I feel like, okay, like, you know, I heard what I needed to, but I don't want to, you know.
Exactly. So this is really good. And that's what that is, because the light body is coming in saying, yeah, listen, I actually do kick ass, and listen, I've got lots to contribute, and this is good. And so the dark, that's what it does when we go and oscillate back and forth. So you're just, sometimes it can feel like you're in a shaker. It'll go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so that's okay. You can allow the body to go back and forth, but what you'll see is you'll move more to the light, and the dark starts to dissipate. That heavy energy starts to dissipate out of the body. And it's actually, you'll start to feel more empowered, and you're going to start to notice you're going to have more joyous moments.
Okay.
How does that feel now?
Thank you so much. It feels so much better. There's a part of me that feels like, oh, am I going to, like, screw it up? But I know myself by now. So
you do it. I'm very proud of you. Thank you for calling.
Thanks, Tracy.
Lots of love. You know what, guys? I know we're at the top of the hour almost, and I know we have more callers, but please call in next week. I'm going to do another call-in show. I'm going to do it on, I'm not sure yet. I have 4 subjects I'm tossing back and forth. Either health and weight, or we're going to do the God of your understanding and removing old programmings. But I really wanted to bring this topic up more today, and we might even continue it into next week, because I want you to feel supported. And I want you to feel that it's not hopeless, because it's not. But sometimes when we go through the biggest challenges and the biggest shifts, it feels hopeless. When I was looking at a 4th near-death experience and a final exit of the planet, it felt so hopeless. Life felt hopeless. And it felt like, why bother? I'm just going to give up. Like, I'm so done. I'm done with the drama. I'm done with people's stuff. I'm just done. That was a lot of time ago. And this is a similar energy. You have to feel the energy, get out of the head and into the energy. And there was that calling, that nagging that came in, and I'd look at my kids. I'm like, I can't, that's so selfish. I can't give up. I got to keep going. But it didn't mean when I woke up, and that was 17 years ago, the next 5 years of doing this work was hard. It sucked. It wasn't roses. It was challenging. It was wanting to scream at people and say, stop telling me that and stop doing that. And I'm going to be just fine. And why did I wake up? And all of this. This is what's happening on the planet right now. People are confused. People are frustrated. People are tired. They're tired of being locked in their homes for 3 months. They're tired of being controlled. They're tired of dictatorships. They're tired. And they're saying there's no more hope than every time we've been tired. But every time we go through this rebirth, we're going through a rebirth. We got to get back up. We got to stand back up. We got to be strong in our communities. Come together and say, I know you feel that way. Let us help you through it. Let us help you feel safe. You deserve to feel safe no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through. Thank you, God. I want to thank that part of the hand of God of increasing safety for you. Some of those things, like, I'm not going to be in a big city come the fall. I'm vacating the big city. I don't want to be in it. I don't want to be in that energy, right? You want to have to feel what makes you feel safe. Makes me feel safe is nature. What makes me feel safe? Start asking yourself that. Thank you, God. But when you come into community, like we have in our community, we will create a space of safety. And sometimes people say things, and I know right away, I'm like, no. But we have to have safety, and you deserve to feel safe. You deserve to feel loved. Even Maggie agrees. If you can see her on camera with her no fur. Don't be mad. Maggie, say hi to everybody who can see you. So, but you deserve to feel that, and you deserve to go through the feelings. And when you go through the feelings, but I want to thank the hand of God for you to understand right now that this is part of change. My cup, if you can see it again, trust, no believe. Trust is no believe is my definition of faith. You must trust that things are going to change and be better than we ever thought before. Like I was saying on the Star Trek episode, you must know without a shadow of a doubt that even though you cannot see it, even though you're not sure, even though you feel confused, you got to believe, you got to keep pressing forward and believe and bring people into your realm that can support you, uplift you. And if they are pulling you down and they are telling you other things, they are not for you, they're against you. They're not for you. If they're like, you should do it this way and you should do it that way, they are not for you, they're against you, they are selfish. This is a place where you want people around you right now to say, how can I help you? What do you need? Let's look at this possibility. Maybe you could try this solutions. And let's thank the power of the hand of God of creative solutions to start to change the systems that are all broken around the world and come back to the state of humanity, which is love, kindness, and compassion. And if you need community, that's why I say, come and find us. Come and find us, whether you're on the Facebook group or the free membership, or you downloaded the audio programs, or you're in the Miraculous Academy. We're there and we're going to help you. And if you say, why do you say? Because people ask me all the time, I can't do this alone. You don't have to do it alone. And the next year, a year and a half, till the end of next year, you think it's crazy now, you hold on and buckle up, because it's just getting going. And that's why you need to stay connected to the God of your understanding. And it's in that connection that together we can rise up and get off mainstream media, get off of it, and start filling your head with things and your soul and your spirit of joy and connection and compassion and humility. So I thank the hand of God for you. I thank you for listening. I thank you for tuning in every week. I thank you for spreading your message and your glory space everywhere you go. And I thank you for being an inspiration to everyone you touch, and for you being the change, because you are the change. And when you show up in a place like this or on this radio network, you're saying, I'm going to be a solution, not a problem. I'm going to be part of the solution. I love you all. Have an incredible week, and I will see you next week, same time, same place.